Good morning. This meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors now called to order, and we'll begin with closed session. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Chair, there are no additions to the agenda.
Okay, and then with that, we'll read closed session into the agenda.
Thank you. Under Conference of Labor Negotiators, Government Code Section 54957.6, your agency designated representative is Roman Noriega, Joel Begay. And the employee organization is all units. Unrepresented employees include all classifications, not elected officials. There are 3 items. The remaining items are under Government Code Section 54957, Public Employee Performance Evaluation. The title of the positions are Chief Clerk of the Board, Chief of Development Services, and County Administrative Officer. I would also add, Chair, that on our agenda, the Zoom link is incorrect. However, if anyone hears this and it's helpful, the link on the homepage of the county's website is accurate and correct, and anyone that wants to view it should use that link and redirect folks if needed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any comment from the public on this item?
Nobody online?
Okay, thank you. With that, we'll start a closed session. Okay, we've returned from closed session. County Council, anything to report from closed session?
Chairman, there is no reportable action from the closed session. Thank you.
Okay. Let's see. At this time, we're going to open our meeting in memory of. Is there anyone to open and close in memory of? If not, that's good. Nobody's leaving this world right now. We're got everybody good. So that's good. Okay, we'll stand for the invocation. Pastor Mike, come forward and deliver the invocation, and we'll have a flag salute after this. Rusty, would you lead us? Okay, great.
Please pray with me. Father, once again, we're grateful to be at this place. And thank you for this awesome community that you've allowed us to live in. Lord, I thank you for these leaders who establish policy for this county. I ask that you be with them today as they meet for business, be in their discussion, guide and direct them, give them the wisdom they need. And Lord, for clarity, whatever it is they need, God, just bless them with that. Ask these in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
And thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Public comment.
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session is set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take any action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on a speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record.
Good morning. Good morning. Tracy Kennedy, your treasurer tax collector. And I'm here to tell you the tax bills are out. The tax bills are out. This is my assistant, Jackie Torres, and she has the present for each one of you. Just so that you know that we haven't forgotten you. There's 61,000 tax bills, representing $254 million, up $26 million from last year. Yes, thank you. You're welcome. Well, you know, we didn't want to embarrass your friends.
I didn't get one, Tracy.
Oh,
know how to do it.
lucky. Lucky. It's your lucky day.
Yeah.
The first installment is due Wednesday, November 1st. Okay. And it's not delinquent until December 11th. Okay. So you'll notice on the tax bill that it'll say due November 1st. We changed that some years ago, and it's created a little quicker of a revenue stream. Plus, hopefully people don't wait till the bitter end, the last minute, but most everybody does. We also have e-alerts now. We have over 9,000 people that have subscribed to our e-alerts. So they will all get a notification that the tax bills are out. The tax bills are out. So they will know, and they can call our office. And also e-tax billing is available if they want to use that. But most people, of course, prefer the paper. And e-checks are free. Save a stamp, save a tree. E-checks are free. It's very simple to do. Just follow the prompts on the website, and your tax payment with your checking account will be paid. Very safe, very secure. I use it myself. And anyway, if there's no other questions, then
Any questions?
any questions? And if your tax bill will still come, you'll still get another one. So, or two, whatever you happen to get. You won't get one, and you won't get one from me. But anyway,
Thank you for the dramatic effect.
that's right. That's right. And Jill, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next speaker.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Jamie Bax with Community and Economic Development with a very quick update. As you all know and the public knows, we're currently updating our housing element, and our sites inventory are actually posted now to our website. That website is MaderaCountyHousingElement.com. Our consultant team is helping us and providing maps. So please take a look at those maps, provide any input. We invite the public to provide any comments. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Next speaker. Couple of familiar faces there from my
Yes.
district. Yes.
Good morning, supervisors and staff. My name is Kelsey Brooker, and I'm here representing the Alview Dairyland School District. I'm here this morning to address a matter of utmost importance to us, and that's the safety of our students as they travel to and from school. On the morning of January 21st of this year, the bridge along Avenue 18.5 connecting our two school sites was closed due to unsafe conditions. This closure has caused rerouting of our buses to other roads within our district. Avenue 18.5 was the main route connecting our two school sites. Our buses currently are using Avenue 21 to transport students each day. Avenue 21 is the very lifeline that connects our community and our schools and is in dire need of repair. The roadway has extreme potholes, uneven pavement, and in some areas, the roadbed has narrowed substantially because of decay and lack of maintenance to an unsafe width. Safe passage is not a luxury, it's a fundamental right for our children, and their safety is our responsibility, and it directly impacts their ability to focus on their education. We understand that annual funding falls extremely short of needed repairs, and only main arterial roads have taken priority. With the closure of Avenue 18.5 west of Road 8, Avenue 21 has now become our main arterial road in our district. We're asking you to please re-examine funding sources and allocations to direct the needed resources to keep our students safe to travel to and from school along Avenue 21. The Alvia Dairyland Board of Trustees were extremely disappointed when our letters of concern over this issue did not receive a response from either the supervisors, nor did we receive a response from Assemblywoman Esmeralda Soria's office. Pupil transportation safely isn't limited to just the school bus itself, but it extends to the infrastructure that they travel on. We're doing our part by keeping a mindful eye on bus driver qualifications and training, equipment maintenance, and safety inspections. So we're asking you to please partner with us to ensure that our children have a safe and reliable route to and from school each day. We would appreciate being included in updates and informed about the timeline to make the needed repairs on Avenue 18.5 bridge. The safety of our children is the most important responsibility that we all share. I thank you this morning for your attention and consideration on our concerns.
Thank you for bringing it forward. I did speak with Clay Haynes and
Yes.
at length about this several times. And we've been texting back and forth about what was happening with the bridge. And we want to make that a priority. We want to get what we can get done on Avenue 21 in the meantime. And I specifically traveled that road about 2 weeks ago, and with pulling a trailer, and it's horrible, especially between Road 9 and Slough. It's really, really rough right in there. Parts of it are pretty decent. It could be utilized, in a better way. So,
Well, what with it now becoming the main arterial road in our district,
right.
that is funneling not only our bus traffic, but it's also funneling all the harvest equipment and harvest
Exactly.
semis.
Exactly.
So this time of year is horrendous, and we need to work on it. We need
Yes.
to do something.
Well, we'll be definitely in contact with you. Could you let Matt Treber know when you sent that letter? Because
Yes.
I don't remember.
It was early in January. And then we also sent one in March.
Okay.
So yeah,
Hmm.
that my reason for being here today is just make sure we all understand it's all of our responsibility.
Right.
And we would really appreciate being in the loop of what we can do, as well as to help out with anything that you guys are trying.
We're on the same page.
Okay.
In addition to that, if you could give some information from your bus services
Yes.
to our road department on your routes.
Okay.
That might help us as well, because I had that done at one point. Now it's changed.
Yes.
So that would be a good thing that we could utilize, a good tool to make sure that the kids are safe.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll get that information.
And that would
to
be
you.
confidential. We wouldn't share that with anyone.
Okay, that's good to know.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, Reese.
I'm just going to add to Kelsey's nice speech. I am on the board also, but I'm not here representing the board. I'm here representing a resident that live on Road 6 and Avenue 21. And again, my name is Reese Soares. Sorry. I know you know me, but that's probably.
Good
So
friend of
I
mine.
live
for
on Road
years.
6 and Avenue 21, and I travel that road often and see the damages this road can cause to my vehicle. But that's not what I want to address. I'm here to address how dangerous Avenue 21 is between Road 9 and Road 4. Those traveling to Alview School and back to Dairyland School deal with this danger daily. I've seen vehicles swerve to miss potholes and almost lose control. When the road department brings out asphalt and makes attempts at fixing this road, they only put a Band-Aid on the problem. I don't see any effort at even making sure the asphalt is pressed in place long enough to last a few days. I can replace any of my vehicles. What I cannot replace is my grandson that rides on this bus, or any of the other 110 children that ride the bus daily back and forth to get to school. So I would like to invite all of you to come and travel in my neighborhood. I would caution you, maybe leave your kids at home.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure. It's a bumpy ride. Thank you, Reese.
Hello, Mr. Chairman and Board. My name is
Morning.
Gilbert De La Fuente. I am a substance use disorder counselor for Madera County Behavioral Health, and I work directly with adolescents. I have the pleasure to be able to work in our community. I work with juvenile probation and the juvenile hall, a juvenile detention facility, and lately I've been in the Riverton School District. That being said, as I understand, this is going to be later on, we're going to have a proclamation for a recovery month from Madera County. I have brought with me a young man who is the true definition of the benefits of recovery. He is a true success story, and he has lived a life of tragedy and overcome. Thankful to recovery. I don't want to detail too much on his story because, again, this is his story. He's going to go right after me, and I believe, granted, he'll have another opportunity to speak with our behavioral health session. His positivity and his service is what I would ask of my own children. So that being said, I've invited him to the board today, and he represents the progress and the success of what we do that little people get to see. You know, sometimes we see what's on TV and we see what's on the streets, but there is success. It does work. And I brought a young man who has an amazing story. So his name is Mr. Melky Santos, and I'll introduce himself in just a second. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Melchizedek Santos. First and foremost, I want to thank God for the people of behavioral health, the Correctional Academy, Juvenile Hall, and this overall operation. Why? Because something about myself, you know, I've come to the realization that I have put all these excuses in my life, being involved with gang violence, being involved with whatever substance abuse that comes with just putting myself out there and believing that this is the only way of life, regardless of whatever I amount to, that nothing's going to overcome my way of addiction. That from the lifestyle that brings either death sentence or prison sentence, I always believe like that ever going to someone or to right. And so I say this to say that throughout my journey, ladies and men at behavioral health that helped me so much. They have come into an understanding that there's much more to life, just being behind bars, just being behind a glass door, right? So I say this to say because June 7th, 2021, my life was radically changed. I was given the opportunity by the Madera courts to go to this program called Teen Challenge, right? Teen Challenge is a one-year residential program out really, but the main idea of this is that it helped me understand that nothing in my life has been in vain, not from the suffering, from losing my parents, not from incarceration, not from being involved in gang violence. None of that has been in vain. On the contrary, it's been as it's a boosting board to not only share my testimony, show everyone that's in my circumstances much more to life. Because I really thought that my life was going to spend either in a jail cell. And just to throw this out there, if I would be back in my addiction right now, I would have 4 years left on my 4 years left. And now I stand before you guys, letting you guys know that everything that I've learned, everything that has been invested in me, all this consistency that all these people, men and women had in my life has not been in vain. For now, I have the opportunity to be a staff member at the Oklahoma Teen Challenge for young adolescents that were struggling like myself. And so I just say this to say that because they not once gave up on me. Not once. I remember seeing this man at Youth for Christ going into the correctional academies, bringing peace. So why would people like him be so nice to people like me, right? And so all this consistency, all this love that was shown to me, it really penetrated my heart and allowed me to see what's good in people. Maybe if there is good in people, maybe there's some good in me. Maybe I can be a part of something that I saw. The man that I needed, the brother that I needed, so forth, whatever it may be. And so behavioral health has taught me a lot because I was a knucklehead. I was that knucklehead, right? And I have pictures just to show you guys that everything I'm speaking on stands on the foundation of truth. I never once believed that probation. Every one of these ladies, men and women, have shown themselves profoundly to my life. From giving up, from saying, Melchizedek, it's going to be okay. Try again, try again, try again, regardless of your circumstance. And so I thank you guys. Thank you.
Wow. We're going to bring him back up again later. What, you are a force to be reckoned with, young man.
I'm telling you, when granted the opportunity, when our division manager and our director asked me if we have any in mind, I was like, do I?
Wow.
Also, if you guys are going to be in attendance at the recovery rally this weekend, he is going to be one of our speakers where he will share in more in-depth detail, not only just his past, but what's more important, his future. He has been on like I said, a road to righteousness that I would wish upon my own children. He is about service, and yes, he will be speaking later.
What can we do to get him in every school in Madera County? No kidding. I'm perfectly serious about this.
You know, he's the one.
Yeah,
He's the one.
I applaud you, young man. Thank you. Let's give him another round of applause. Man, that filled my heart up. That's great. Come ahead. Next speaker.
Hi, everybody. My name's Donald Murphy. My child goes to Sherman Thomas High School that I believe I was there when you broke some of the ground, Mr. Poitras. When my son started in August, I looked at the principal and said, is there anything I can do for you? And she's all, we need a crosswalk in front of our school. The students have even prepared a PowerPoint presentation as one of their projects to get this navigated. I began the process because they kept hearing if it was city or county. So I went over there. They said it was city. They sent me over there the corner across from B of A, where I talked with John several times over the last month and a half and really kind of got nowhere. There's a crosswalk at the beginning of the school when you're coming this way, along with several school ahead signs. But when you're coming from Country Club Drive, where all of the Matildas Torres students are currently coming down and zipping down the road, there's no school ahead signs. The first school sign is directly across the street with nothing beforehand. Apparently, it's been years they've been trying to navigate this crosswalk and haven't been able to. And I don't know if you guys are aware today, but a child was hit in front of ETA school with substantial injuries and is at Valley Children's now. There is no crosswalks at all, no school ahead signs, no nothing on that road. Can you imagine being the crossing guard that was standing there with that child, got hit going, oh my gosh, I was holding the sign and I didn't stop people. Not only the child, but it's going to traumatize everybody. And not only that school, but Sherman Thomas also needs to have that process before I'm taking my kid to school and something happens. Went over to the city place and met with Keith Helmet, who is the city engineer. He went out there with me for a moment and observed, but it wasn't at the busy time. The busy times for Sherman Thomas School are Monday at 1, Tuesday at 2:45, which is the peak time, Wednesday at 1, Thursday at 12, and Friday at 11. And Since it was Tuesday, I requested him to make sure someone was out there at 2:45 today, and he was dragging his feet. Like, I will, and it seems like he's got every excuse in the book other than, you know what, we're gonna get somebody out there, we're gonna figure this out, we're gonna look at it, we're gonna make sure that childs are prepared. He was like, why are people crossing the street? Well, when you pull into Sherman Thomas, there's only a driveway for the high school part that about 4 cars fit in. So I was sitting there for almost 10 minutes waiting to get into that part this morning when I went to drop my son off. Their drop-off time is only at 7, they can't be before 7:45 a.m. So all the students that are going there, that are approximately 80, have to be dropped off in that 15-minute window. So sure, other students that live in apartments and other students that go to the grammar school are crossing right there too. So I know my time's almost up. Please.
Let me just say that right now, this is in the hands of our Economic Development Director, Matt Treber, talked to me about it this morning. And so he's going to be making sure that something happens. And as far as the child, we want everyone to know that I did get a text from the sheriff and he's doing better. And so we hope and pray for his full recovery.
I feel it's something with all the schools, and somebody needs to spend some time checking on them all.
Absolutely. Thank you for
please-
bringing it forward
please-
this morning. We
please
appreciate your comments. Yes.
And sir, if you could give your contact information to the man in the blue shirt back there, can you wave your hand? And
Thank you.
and
Thank you very much.
we'll be in contact with you. Thank you.
Good morning,
ahead.
Chairman and Board of Supervisors. Manu Vang, Executive Director of the Workforce Development Board. I'm here today to share with you this morning a project report for a $300,000 Wildfires National Dislocated Worker Grant that we were awarded to assist with repair and cleanup efforts in response to the Creek Fire disaster. Impacted areas included Whiskey Falls and Beesore Meadows, and work activities were supervised by the stewards of the Sierra. We invested over $230,000 directly into training and supportive services, which just wrapped up last month. And some of the outcomes included 267 miles of road that was cleared, 1,793 trees that were cut and removed, and almost 30,000 feet of brushing that was cleared. And we wouldn't be able to do this work without the support of our dedicated staff and the support of this board, especially Supervisor McCauley on this project, and Supervisor Poitras for his role in our workforce board. So just wanted to say thank you.
Very much.
Any questions?
Great information. Want to have any questions? Go ahead,
All right.
sir.
No, I'm just going to say thank you for your efforts and leadership and for everybody on the team making this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment? Anyone online?
No comments online.
No other public comment? Okay, we'll go to the consent calendar. Any items to be removed for special consideration?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to pull item 5F
5F,
for further discussion.
5F. Go.
Yeah, Chair, and I'm hopeful to pull item S. And then I had a quick comment on U, V, and W.
Item S as in Sam.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you go ahead, and make your comments right now on the other.
In regards to U, V, and W, I just want to thank the Public Works team for all the work they're doing. I know they're always out hustling, working to get more grants so we can improve our infrastructure. And this is just a great example of that. 3 grants, 3 districts. A lot of money. So thank you guys for your work with that.
Thank you. Any other items from advisors? Questions? Okay. We'll go to item F.
Yeah, okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the consideration of the Board of Supervisors meeting calendar for 2024. There's a couple of changes that I'm going to recommend. One of them is in regards to February and March of 2024. We have in the calendar that in the packet, we have meetings scheduled for February 6th, February 20th, and February 27th. We also have in March a meeting scheduled for March 5th. Now, March 5th is definitely problematic because that's the day of the California primary. And I can see why that was overlooked. It's because I think that, and our county clerk can correct me, but I think the last time we had a primary in March was 2020. And then prior to that, who knows? I don't know. So we haven't had too many primaries in March.
No.
Typically they're in June. So, but on the presidential cycle, they're in March. So what I'm recommending is that we scratch the meeting for March 5th. We also received a message from the county clerk in regards to the use of the chambers during the week of the February 26th. And there's a lot of setup and things going on and et cetera. So what I'd like to recommend is that we also scratch the meeting for February 27th but add a meeting for February 13th. The week of February 13th is the NACO Legislative Conference. I've talked to Supervisor Gonzalez, who will more than likely be in Washington, D.C. for the NACO Legislative Conference. And I asked her if she wouldn't be heartbroken if we had a meeting on the 13th. And she said, great, that'd be wonderful. So what I'd like to recommend is that we change the calendar to meetings on February 6th, the 13th and 20th. And then the next meeting after that would be March 12th. Now, if something comes up, we can always arrange a special meeting, but that would be one recommendation. The second recommendation is towards the end of the year, we have meetings, regular meetings, the first 3 Tuesdays in October. We have one meeting scheduled in November. The first Tuesday is the general election. And so that meeting was scratched. We have a meeting for November 12th. And then according to the calendar, we don't have another meeting until December 10th. That's about a 30-day, 28-day gap between meetings. And because we're only having one meeting in November, I'd recommend adding a meeting on December 3rd. And so then we would have December 3rd, 10th, and 17th. So I discussed this with our CAO yesterday so this wasn't something I dreamed up. I, wanted to, the main thing about these meetings is workflow. It's not about county supervisors for our convenience. It's all about, our citizens and getting things done and getting moving forward and on initiatives. So that would be my recommendation with those changes. Any comments?
Okay, go ahead.
I just wanted to add, Mr. Chairman, that I noticed we don't have any on the road board meetings. I don't know if that was because we haven't determined which ones are on the road or if it's a budgetary item.
Right. And thank you. And that, it's kind of like this is the first step, just arranging the dates. And then the next step will be, we can discuss on the road meetings where it's appropriate, things of that sort. So excellent. Thank you for mentioning that.
So Jay Varney, CAO. So with the new regulations about availability online, we'll see what additional costs would be coming in if we meet on the road. And then just for the public's edification, the reason we don't meet on the 19th of November is the California State Association of Counties is going to meeting in that third week of November. And you would not have a quorum of board members here because some of you will be attending that. That's why November's short on the backside.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay, is there any comment on the consent calendar or item F? Public comment online. Now I'll bring it back to the board and what's your
I had
pleasure?
a quick question on item S.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. And I think Chief of Development Services, Matthew Schreiber, and I had a chance to speak about this beforehand. Just a clarification on where the funding is coming from. I know there are going to be improvements to service area 2A, but it sounds like the folks that are going to be utilizing that space are also going to be working in neighboring maintenance districts, MD6, MD7. So is that cost going to be spread around all those districts, or is it going to be solely borne by the service area?
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrea Saldati, Deputy Director with Public Works. That is correct. So the cost is associated with Bass Lake because that's where the physical shop is and that's where the infrastructure is going. But all of the districts that share that physical shop will be paying their prorated share back to that expense. So that $23,000 will be split up between all the districts that utilize that area.
Thank you.
Super. Any more questions or comments? Not, I'll entertain a motion. Adopt with changes.
I'll move to approve with the changes on item F.
Great.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Let's vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Okay. Item 6A.
6A, Behavioral Health Services Department, presentation of a proclamation naming September 2023 as National Recovery Month.
Good morning, Connie Moreno Praza, Director of Behavioral Health. Good morning. Thank you so much for having us here. Every time I hear our young people and our counselors speak is, again, validates why I'm here every morning, wanting to do the best job I can. But again, the president, SAMHSA, everybody's declared September is National Recovery Month. The theme, you hear a little bit more detail on some of the activities, but the theme is recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, every community. So we are here to share some, I am very, very proud to have our counselors. I asked them to stand up and our great, our youth leader here. These are the folks that make things happen. I have Mr. Rollins back there. It looks like it's the small engine that could, because they do the work of 100. It's a very small team that we have here in the Madera office. John is in Oakhurst, and then we have other counselors are in Chowchilla. But we, brain, we talked about addiction. Addiction is like a medical condition. There's a lot of research about how it impacts the brain, so brain disease. So we believe in early intervention and in treatment. And some of the successes you'll hear over and over again is as once folks start recovery and they have a support system that can help them remain in recovery, their life transforms. They get jobs, go to school, help the community. They do many wonderful things. We have an amazing team of staff that also do prevention early intervention, which is very, very important for us during Recovery Month. And then our counselors are doing our treatment, all ages. We have women and children that suffer from being involved with addiction. We have pregnant moms. We have older adults using over-the-counter medications and drinking alcohol and using methamphetamine to get energy to treat, help their grandkids. So we have a lot of issues. Our clients are seen in every system. I don't think there's one subsystem. So our partners are very important for us to help folks in recovery. So with that, I'm just going to turn it over very quickly for our staff to give you some highlights on some of the things we're going to be doing to celebrate recovery.
Good morning, everyone. Chairman and board members. Mayor Val Navarro with Madera County Behavioral Health. I oversee all the substance use and criminal justice programs. Not only is September National Recovery Month, but it's also National Addiction Professionals Month. And today I want to recognize our dedicated, hardworking staff. We have 6 out of 8 counselors that serve all of Madera County. That is, like Connie mentioned, Chowchilla, Eastern Madera County, and the city limits. Not only do we serve, our youth and our adults, but also our older adults and our incarcerated individuals. We go into the facilities and provide substance abuse services to anyone seeking assistance. This is not just a recognized movement here locally, it's a national recognized day, and Department of Behavioral Health is joining the movement in celebrating the vital players of the health system and continuum of care of addiction professionals. Now more than ever, it's necessary to take the movement to recognize the importance of addiction profession and the efforts addiction professionals make to support the communities in their country. Since 1992, we have celebrated and commemorated all their hard work. And today, as their division manager, aligned with our director and everyone from Behavioral Health, we want to support and honor them for taking the time and dedication to come and serving Madera County residents and the road to recovery. We also welcome you to join us this Saturday. We are having our first annual Rally to Recovery at Courthouse Park. It will be from 9 to 1 p.m. We'll have a variety of different community-based organizations, a lot of treatment providers, providers. We'll also have some guest speakers, like the young man that spoke this morning, giving us just their inspiration regarding their treatment and progress and recoveries. We also will have a food available to the public, so we are providing food to the community members that attend. With that said, we still have two of our workforce series that I mentioned last week. The 4-part workforce series are workshops that we provide throughout the community in Eastern Madera County and Madera, where we talk about not only just recovery, but also suicide and mental health services. So the two remaining left will be from 5:30 to 6:30 at our office. And I believe we have one in Oakhurst scheduled on the 28th of September as well. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And again, I can't emphasize enough our crisis and access line that is open 24 hours, 7 days a week for any of our community members that are needing assistance in a crisis situation, whether it's mental health or substance use related. And that phone number is 559-673-3508. Thank you.
Thank you.
Want to get a
photo. If we can get a photo, that would be fine.
Yes, can't underemphasize the role of all of our professionals from the line officers in the field, the deputies, the sheriffs, the probation, to the district attorney, the behavioral health, all of those people work in conjunction with each other, make a difference in one life. Like that young man, it puts a smile on your face. He's gonna change other lives. I can see that. He's got the juice. He's enthused about changing other lives, and that's what it's all about. Very good. So makes me so happy to see that. Okay, 6B.
6B, Board of Supervisors Department proclamation recognizing the week of September 25th through September 30th, 2023 as Old Timers Week.
The board members, we have a couple of members of the committee that's worked on recognizing Old Timers Week, as well as the employee luncheon, which will be on Friday, September 29th, here to accept the proclamation, because other folks on the committee, such as Mr. Kidwell, Mr. Winslow, were not able to be with us today.
Oh, it was already on, sorry. Ignacio Magos, County Administration.
Cindy Hernandez, County Administration.
Well, let me go ahead and say a few words. Well, this is a great week that we get to recognize. It's Old Timers Week, and 2023 marks the 92nd anniversary of Old Timers Week. And it started during the 1930s during the Great Depression as a way to support and uplift the community spirit. So in some ways, it was kind of like behavioral health is really what it was, because you can imagine, I don't see anybody here that's anywhere near old enough to have lived through the Depression, but certainly your parents or grandparents, may have lived through it, and you heard the stories, and it was a very, very, very tough time, but but again, this was started at that time. It was called Old Timers Week because in the 30s, the early 1900s were considered old time, even though it was only 25, 30 years prior, and it was celebrating our lumber industry, and agriculture was kind of in its early roots. So it kind of had that lumber theme. So this is a time that's continued on. I think there was only one time that it was canceled, perhaps during the Mr. Salinas, you can correct me, but perhaps during World War II, maybe once, and then several years ago during COVID, I believe that it was canceled as well. But it's a great thing. It continues on, and it's strong as ever. If anybody here has been to a recent Old Timers Day event or during that week, a lot of participation. We have many organizations and sponsors that have been a part of that. So we'd like to, again, recognize that. So for the Old Timers Week portion of the celebration, let's go ahead and gather for a photo, and then everybody can stay here, because then item 6C will be recognizing the generous support from sponsors. So let's go ahead and take care of 6B at this moment.
Mr. Chair, I do have a question on Old Timers Week. Are we, in the past, there's been some costume competitions and the dress code was relaxed so that folks could dress in that attire. Is that still happening, or is that advertised throughout the week? There was a jail that if you didn't shave, if you're a man that didn't shave, I guess you could.
Yeah, things have changed. It could be,
So is that still happening?
When we spoke with Tom Kidwell, he said, there wasn't as much participation with that. So if people want to do that, great. If not, there wasn't really anything like solid that he was putting out there.
Maybe we can send a countywide email, or even to share that with the city folks as well, to try to participate. That's all. That was always fun.
And we'll also be participating in the parade as well, county supervisors and so forth. So good. Very good. Well, let's gather for a picture and a presentation of the proclamation. So item 6C is a separate item that we'd like to recognize the sponsors, who are many, who are making this parade and the week possible. We have some of the, for instance, we have the Young Professionals Group that are working hard to get the park activities after the parade set up. We have the Sunrise Rotary Club that is working on the parade. And we have, again, other organizations, and we'd like to recognize those. And we'd also like to recognize our primary sponsor, key sponsor for Old Timers Week, and that would be Caglia, sorry, Richard, Environmental. And they have definitely been outstanding community sponsors throughout the years, decades. And they stepped up big time in this regard to really help out our community. It's something that it's really a fun time, and families. It's really a great family event. So thank you so much, Caglia Environmental. And Richard, I believe that I saw a giant check there. And I think it can be scanned and deposited into our account, but why don't you go ahead and come on up and feel free to say a few words if you like to.
Thank you, Rob. Good morning. Richard Cagley with Cagley Environmental. As I get older, I know this is called the Old Timers Parade, but I kind of like to call it the Wise Person's Parade. But we're more than happy to be part of Madera City's events, Madera County's events. We've been doing it for quite some time. I actually have some personal history with the Old Timers Parade. I've actually walked that parade when I first ran for State Senate Community College Board Office. And I wasn't successful that time, but I was successful the subsequent time. So we've been participating in this event for quite some time. It's actually been a few years, but we're back, we're here, we appreciate it. And thank you for the time this morning.
Let's go ahead.
Here, I was talking to HR earlier and I was requesting that we all get big checks each month like that. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
As long as there's no raise attached to it.
On time.
All right, 6D, I'm sorry.
6D, Agricultural Commissioner Sealer and Weights and Measures, presentation of the 2022 Madera County Crop and Livestock Report by the Agricultural Commissioner.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board, Rusty Landsberger, Madera County Ag Commissioner, Sealer of Weights and Measures. Absolutely. You can open those up. So it's my pleasure to present the 2022 Madera County Crop Report. In this report is an annual statistical report is compiled in accordance with section 2272 and 2279 of the California Food and Agricultural Code and contains data on acreage, yield, and values of Madera County agricultural commodities. The values in this report are gross values and do not represent net income or loss to producers. Came out okay. Let's see here. So for 2022, the gross value of production in Madera County was $1,993,331,000. That is a decrease of $55,164 from the previous year, which represents 2.69% from the 2021 gross value. Slight problem there. So this, even though we can't read it, this just represents the top 10 crops from 2022 as compared to 2021. I believe it's on page 2 or 3 of the crop report. We do have copies available if anyone would like one, and it will be available on our website later this afternoon. So basically our leading crops, almonds, nuts and hulls, milk, grapes, pistachios, pollination, cattle and calves, mandarin and tangerines all remain the same from the 2021 crop year. We did have changes in 8, 9, and 10, corn silage, replacement heifers, alfalfa hay and silage, all kind of switch places. And figs, which is the #1 crop in Madera County, actually fell out of the top 10 this year. Let's see if this slide works. Well, not very well. Anyway, this is just a representation of the difference from 2021. And I don't believe this is in the crop report. This was just a slide we added, so I can provide this later. But apiary production, so these are just by the crop groups. So apiary, we had a 1.7% increase. Field crops had a 33.5% increase. Fruit and nut crops dropped 15.8%. Forest products dropped 1.5%. Livestock and poultry increased 15.3%. Or yeah, livestock and poultry products increased 33.5%. And nursery products decreased 12.8%. And vegetable crops increased 9.3%. So I believe that in the crop report on a page, there's the agricultural crop report summary for 2022. And overall, kind of that just highlights each crop group. And so we did have a reduction of about 6,380 harvestable acres this year in Madera County that was reported to us. And so I just wanted to represent that there was a change in that. So, okay. No. Okay, well, we'll try again next year. So anyway, I'll just go ahead and highlight from the crop report. We're also the sealer of weights and measures, and I always like to include a little bit of, what we do with that. And so, so far this year, in 2022, we've been out and inspected over 1,400 commercial devices. So that includes 137 computing scales, 30 livestock and animal scales, 916 retail motor fuel scale or motor fuel meters, and 17 vehicle scales. And like I said before, this crop report will be available on our website. We have copies available, some hard copies. We'll have them in our office, and we'll leave some here in the board chambers. I would like to thank Cha Vang, who's here. Please stand up, Cha. He's a senior ag and standard inspector in my office. He works year round on this crop report to gather data, collect damage reports, do whatever we need to do to make sure if we have to file for a disaster. But the big thing is he does a lot of outreach with our growers to make sure we get the most accurate data that we can compile into this report. So thank you, Cha. Any questions from the board?
Very good report. So what do you think was the reason for the reduction in pig?
I think it's just supply and demand. I think it's kind of just dropped out. And I think the value of other agricultural commodities have increased. So it's kind of surpassed figs. I don't know where we're going to fall this year. I mean, Madera County still may be the #1 or still is the #1 producer of figs. But I think the value compared to other crops has driven it down out of the top 10.
Interesting. I like the ranking by county, and then overall the ranking in the United States. That's pretty cool figure there.
Overall, Madera County ranks number 11 out of the 58 counties.
Any other questions? Comments?
Thank you very much.
I think it's interesting that that how farmers adjust. And at one point we were over 2 billion. And we've had a decrease in the nut value, but they shifted their attentions enough to make up quite a bit of that hedge, 33% increase in other areas.
Yes.
That tells me they're adjusting and making the best out of bad situations.
Yeah, if there was open ground and water available, there was a big increase in processing tomatoes. I mean, when we look at our almonds, there was a $600 a ton decrease in value. Walnuts took a $700 a ton decrease. Whereas in milk, we had less production of milk, but the price increased enough to offset that difference. So we had an increase in the milk.
Excellent. Excellent. Very good. Thank you for this great report. Any comment from the public on this report? If not, I'll bring it back to the board and just a report. Next item.
6E. County Administration Department. Discussion and consideration of proposed revisions to the county travel policy, allowing for reimbursement to employees who charge county-owned electric vehicles at home, and delegating authority to approve all in-state travel to department heads and their designee.
Morning, Darren McCandless, County Administrative Office. This item proposes 2 revisions to the county travel policy. The first is a procedural change to omit the County Administrative Office out of the review and approval process. The second is the introduction of a provision allowing for reimbursement for employees who charge county electronic vehicles at home. In terms of the first change for the omission of the County Administrative Office from the review process, currently, any trip that involves an overnight stay involves completing a trip request form, which is approved by the department head. It's then routed to the administrative office for approval before ultimately going to the auditor's office. And this dates back to a time when departments didn't have as much control or development of their budgets. And we find now that this stop at the administrative office for approval is largely unnecessary. We rarely, if ever, reject a trip request that's been properly approved by department heads. So just in terms of efficiency, we think that eliminating that stop would be beneficial. Out-of-state travel would still come to the administrative office. The second provision is the introduction of reimbursement for employees that charge electric vehicles at home. County currently has only 5 electric vehicles, 3 in the sheriff's department, 2 in social services. In certain instances, it's beneficial for the county to have these vehicles, any vehicles, garaged at home in terms of response. County employees don't have to come to a county facility before responding to a work site. And earlier in the year, the sheriff's department conducted a study as far as the use of electric vehicles goes. They found that the cost of charging at a residence as opposed to charging at the sheriff's headquarters was less. And based on that study, we're proposing that reimbursement be written into the travel policy at the summer season off-peak baseline rate, which is currently 45 cents per kilowatt hour. This proposal has been reviewed by County Council. It's been reviewed by the auditor's office, and there is documentation to track and submit reimbursement requests included in the revision. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
Questions?
Regarding the, how do you calculate kilowatt hour usage at home, or not how they calculate, but how do you account for it?
Yeah, I don't have an electric vehicle. I don't know. I'm not familiar with the charging. However, the form that's been developed has date, odometer reading, kilowatt hour usage, and that is submitted for the reimbursement request. Now, how does an employee know how much kilowatt hour has been used? I honestly don't know. I assume that perhaps on the charging device, it tracks it. I don't know if it's possible to track it on a meter. Anyone else know?
I don't think it's possible to track it on your home meter. My guess would be that through the vehicle or
That's what
through the
I think
charging
too, yeah.
device, that would be done.
I didn't know if it was like on the honor system, because if you're charging, 20 kilowatt hours or whatever on your car, I don't know if anybody else knows, but I'm just for accounting purposes, so people aren't, there's some sort of mechanism for. accounting.
Yeah, there's definitely a mechanism for the recording of it. How it's determined, I'll have to find out.
And the only other thing that I would suggest is in the policy, adding territory R for the rate plan, because different territories have different off-peak rates. So territory R is Fresno, Madera, and Merced counties.
You have a question?
I have a question
Go ahead.
regarding the first provision, Darren. Given the budget constraints, how do we if it's not going through administration for that oversight, how are we going to monitor that there's not excessive travel happening or?
Well, as mentioned earlier, this really goes back to a time when county administration developed the budget, county administration controlled and managed the budget, but that model has been gone for several years now. So we're trusting departments to manage their budgets, manage their travel budgets appropriately. This is sort of a second phase. 2018, we used to require all travel, even if it was a day trip, come to the administrative office. And at that time, we would have 1,000, 1,200 trips per year. So we eliminated that day trip. But that still leaves 500, 600 overnight trip requests. And we just don't reject them. If they've been reviewed by the department head, they've been signed by the department head, and they go through the workflow based on the approval of the department head, we forward them on to the auditor's office. So really it's leaving it up to the department's budget teams to manage their budgets accordingly.
Okay, and then, and this is something that I had mentioned to Jay, because there's a lot of travel that happens, which is great. That's great for professional growth and whatnot. I'm all for that. But we never really get reports back from the departments of, what they're bringing back or what they're trying to bring back, or is there anything that administration is requiring of the departments when they are traveling to some of these?
Well,
places?
we, along with the auditor's office, require documentation on the front end in terms of what's the itinerary, what are the, what is involved in a conference or a training or a meeting. In terms of reporting back after the fact, not so much.
And there's not like a report that can be generated, kind of like our employee report where we see who's leaving, who's transferring, is there a report that can be generated on travel in that sense?
It's possible we could do that out of Laserfish, because that's where
Probably,
the actual travel requests are tracked. And then we're going to have them do a synopsis of what their training was.
Yeah, and I should have mentioned that this process is an electronic workflow. So we can probably
It can be
talk to
generated.
IT and see what kind of reporting can be generated.
See, I just like to see where folks are traveling. And remember one year someone traveled to Dubai, and I thought that was kind of,
We won't be
Uh,
approving any of those under this.
I know that was
administration,
under a
right?
different
Right.
administration.
Yeah.
But no, thank you for that. I had to say.
All right, any more questions? If not, public comment on this item. Any public comment? Don't see any. We'll bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Mr. Chair, I'll move to approve.
Motion made,
Second.
motion made in second. And let's vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez?
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras?
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh?
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley?
Yes.
Chairman Rogers?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
6F.
6F, County Administration Department, Assistance to Madera Community Hospital. 1, discussion and direction to staff to reimburse the American Rescue Plan Act Fund - contributions to other agencies from the Madera Community Hospital Fund - contributions to other agencies in the amount of $500,000. 2, discussion and direction to staff to make weekly payments of $125,000 to Madera Community Hospital beginning September 29th, not to exceed the total amount of $625,000, provided that all three conditions are met below, are below met, excuse me. Condition 1, the funding to be provided to the County of Madera shall be, or excuse me, provided by the County of Madera shall be used only for the limited purposes of paying necessary expenses to preserve the license and the hospital as an ongoing concern, and not to be used to pay general claims against the estate, such as petition claims and bankruptcy professional fees. The county will require that the hospital provide an accounting to the assistance payments provided since August 2023 and will reserve the right to recoup funds when appropriate. Condition 2, the county has received written and electronic communications from each of the representatives of Madera Community Hospital, the Creditors Committee, and St. Agnes Trinity Health, confirming that the payments of the weekly operating costs by the county will ensure that the MCH facility will be kept in substantially the same as its currently operating conditions and will not discontinue operations that will affect the hospital's license or otherwise be under threat of being shut down prior to October 31st, 2023. Condition 3, the county has received written and electronic communications from MCH that the distressed hospital loan program bridge loan has not yet been received by MCH. This condition must be met weekly for assistance payments to be released to MCH. Weekly operating cost assistance will stop once MCH is in receipt of the DHLP bridge loan.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Joel Begay, County Administrative Office. And Karen, thank you for reading all of that into the record. Yes, the first recommended action for you today is in response to your board's direction to find alternative funding sources to cover the burn rate for the hospital. Recommended action 1 intends to reimburse the $500,000 that were appropriated from the ARPA unallocated funds for the September burn rate, which takes it through the September 22nd, the week of September 22nd. And then recommended action 2 recommends continuing the weekly burn rate of supporting the weekly burn rate of $125,000 through the month of October for a total of $625,000. It is $625,000 because we need to cover, well, it covers the final week of September, takes it through October 31st. I kind of want to summarize the conditions. The first condition, to clarify the second paragraph, is that to look at all of the actual costs compared to the assistance payments provided. And if there's an excess of assistance provided, then staff recommends that we either withhold or provide less payments just to true it up through October, right? Because the intent is to cover the burn rate, not to cover any professional fees that's related to the bankruptcy process. And that's stipulated in the bankruptcy court order. Second condition has been there. We just want to make sure that we get either email or verbal confirmation that creditors committee isn't going to force any liquidation of the assets, basically leading to the loss of the license. And then the third condition, it relates to the DHLP bridge loan, which the hospital, which I want to acknowledge that CEO Karen Panlelli and Board President Deidre De Silva are in the audience. And if you have any questions as regards to the process and the bridge loan, they're better equipped to answer that. But to our knowledge, as of this date, the bridge loan hasn't been issued, pending terms and conditions with the state. So the only other funding source available is the $5 million that the state allocated through the 22-23 state budget process. Action 1 would allocate $500,000 of that to reimburse the ARPA fund for September. And if action 2 is approved, the $625,000 will be further taken from that $5 million until such time the DHLP bridge loan is received by the hospital. And with that, staff and MCH staff are available for any questions you may have.
I have a question. What is the status of the letter of intent?
I would defer that. Mr. Chairman, I'm assuming you're asking from Adventist Health. Letter of intent, yes. We would defer that to the hospital.
Karen Polinelli, Madera Community Hospital. The status of the letter of intent, is that what you were asking? We have a letter of intent with Adventist Health, and that nothing has changed with that,
Okay,
so.
yeah, that's what my concern was. It wasn't addressed in the agenda items.
So we're still working with them and going through the process and
Thank you.
no
That's
problem.
all I have. Any other questions?
The only,
Go ahead.
I just have a clarification, just to make sure we're all on the same page, that the initial $500,000 is going to be I'm sorry, through September 22nd is going to be reimbursed with that $5 million. And anything moving forward, it will come out of that same pot, not
Yes,
from
Supervisor.
any ARPA funds.
If the actions 1 and 2 are approved, that is exactly how you phrased it.
Okay.
I'll just have,
go
I
ahead.
add a comment. Joel and Jay, thank you so much for your guys' work on this. This hospital issue has not been an easy item to navigate. And so I just want to publicly thank the two of you for really diving into this issue because it hasn't been easy. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Ditto. Comment. Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I'll take it out to the public. Any public comment on this item? Anyone online?
No comments online.
No one commenting. We'll bring it back to the board. You did have a comment? Go ahead.
Sorry, I would just like to thank all of
Yeah.
you again for supporting Madera Community Hospital. On behalf of our Board of Supervisors, I know Deidre, our chair, is here, and we really appreciate the work the county has done and stepped up. And we're on our part, we're working very hard every single day to make this happen so we can get our hospital back open. So thank you. Really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you. That's the goal.
Just with that said, Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
Karen, what, is there anything that you can add so that when we talk with the public, what do we say other than we're working on it? Like, can we have a general update from you?
Sure. We continue to work very hard. As you know, we have a letter of intent with Adventist Health. And I've been on phone calls with HCI, some people from HHS and Adventist Health, Madera Community Hospital. And the work that's being done is really, in my opinion, they're working very hard on trying to make things happen so we can get that distress hospital loan approved. So also on the other side of it, our bankruptcy attorney is working with the bankruptcy attorneys through HCI, looking at how do we get that approved. It's complicated, of course, because we are in bankruptcy, but I really feel like we have all the right people at the table and everybody has engaged. And, your engagement, it's talked about too at those meetings and how important it is and the help that the county has done stepping up. So that's kind of where we're at. It's kind of a little bit, it feels like a holding pattern, but hopefully we'll hear more in the next couple of weeks. It just takes some time to get it through the process, but they are working on it behind the scenes. It's getting worked on every single day. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Mr. Chairman, I'd
Go
just
ahead.
like to add on that, without going into detail, there is an incredible amount of work going on behind the scenes. There's probably about 5 or 6 parallel roads, paths that are taking place, actions that are just, again, incredibly difficult and complicated. And we'd like to say, hey, we've got the funding and life is beautiful and Adventist is there. But you look below the surface and it is a lot of work. And you've got creditors committees, you've got the bankruptcy court. You can imagine if you're a creditor, you're going to want your money. And so there's still that pressure that's being faced. And so it's going to take a little bit and keep praying. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay. No other comments? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
Motion is made.
Second.
Motion made and second. Let's vote.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh.
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
I'm always amazed how generally united this board is. It's just refreshing. I get told that by other representatives of other areas because they don't have the same kind of of uniting in their operations. So we're fortunate to have the board we have.
We're
It's-
one, but we're not the same.
Right.
That's Bono
We have a good staff.
from one.
Yeah, we have great staff too. Yes. I think it all runs through the organization. Good people working hard to get something done in the right direction. Very good. 6G.
6G, Human Resources Department, 2024 Health Insurance Benchmark. This number one, discussion and consideration to adopt side letters of agreement with clerical communications dispatcher, corrections officer, deputy probation officer, mid-management, postgraduate licensed professionals, peace officers management, probation administrators, management, professional, service, technical bargaining units regarding the continued utilization of the United Healthcare Plan as a benchmark to fund and maintain the county's health benefits program for the 2024 plan year, January 2024 through December 31st, 2024. Number two, discussion and consideration to extend the terms of the side letters agreements in recommendation action number one above to current eligible unrepresented employees, including department heads and elected officials.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Roman Noriega, Human Resources. So this item is really just to finalize the side letters with our bargaining units to use United Healthcare as the benchmark plan to fund our 2024 health benefits. And just on that note, a couple of reminders. Our 2024 benefits open enrollment started yesterday, September 18th, and runs through Friday, October 13th. That's appropriate for Halloween month, right? We'll have two job fairs this year. The first will be on October 5th at DSS, and the other one will be here at the Government Center on October 12th here in the lobby. Both will be from 12 to 2 p.m. And HR will send reminders for open enrollment and the health fairs.
Great, thank you. Is there any questions on this item? Any public comment? Anyone online?
None online.
No one coming forward? Bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Motion made.
I'll second.
Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes,
Vote passes 5-0.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Pending legislation, any pending legislation?
The only update is I did receive an email yesterday from Shaw Yoder, just regarding those bills that the county had previously shown either support or opposition to that made it to the governor's desk. And we have a fairly large gap between now and the next meeting, and certainly he'll be signing these things soon. So I will look through those to see if there's some things there that we should reiterate our support or opposition to the governor and prep them so the clerk or someone can get them to the chairman to get them signed. And then we'll bring them back in October for ratification.
Great, thank you, Jay. I appreciate your vigilance on all that. It's, we're living in critical times and critical legislations being passed. We need to be on top of that. Thank you very much. Supervisor and staff reports, Supervisor McCauley.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Had a great town hall last Thursday with PG&E. They came and presented to the community about some of the changes they're making with their vegetation management, as well as some of the infrastructure upgrades they're doing on their hardware. In addition to that, have a community meeting this Saturday in partnership with Department of Social Services, as well as Public Health, a wellness event. So hope the folks up in the mountain communities in Madera County can join us this Saturday.
Great, thank you. Supervisor Poitras.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last week, I joined a group of 22 people on a San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Council advocacy trip to Washington, D.C. We met with all of our representatives other than it's a representative from the South Valley. I think his name's McCarthy or something. Anyway, they said he was busy. He couldn't meet with us, but but we did meet with his very capable chief of staff, Kyle Lombardi, and we also met with the Department of Interior, Department of Transportation, the EPA, Department of Government Affairs, and anyway, I think it was a very good trip. We presented our case in regards to discretionary spending, air quality, rail outside of HSR. One of the things that we decided on many, many years ago is we only advocate for things we all agree on. So this was in regards to the JPA and the ACE train. And then, of course, Highway 99 spending. It is a state route, but federal funding does go into it in regards to interchanges. Jose Rodriguez was the other elected from Madera that attended. He's our city council member from across the street. And I believe Jose did an outstanding job. It was his first trip with the coalition representing MCTC, but I think he distinguished himself in regards to his advocacy on behalf of not only Madera County, but San Joaquin Regional Policy Council. And I also heard from at least one or two of the House members. It was really interesting. I haven't heard this in many years, but they said the earmark word was used many, many times. And in fact, there was encouraged that if there is a earmark request, they said up to about $4 million. Don't go over $4 million. But, you know, if there is a project that you'd like to see happen, don't be afraid to request that. And that's just like, interesting. Now, I will let you know that did not come from Congressman McClintock's office for obvious reasons. But it was, anyway, good trip, very successful. And so that's pretty much my week.
Thanks for being on top of that and taking that role and been very vigilant in that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I had a great update with John Duarte, our very active congressman, and also met with his chief of staff, Joshua. Last night we had a good gathering over at the Cornerstone Church in Chowchilla. Over 800 men that came together for steak night, and fantastic community event that happens every year. A lot of exciting things that happen, including a classic car show. They really had a good time. That's all.
I have nothing to report, Chairman.
I'll be attending the MCTC meeting and the Joint Powers Authority meeting on Friday. And also we'll be at the centennial celebration for Chowchilla on Saturday.
Yes, we're excited about that. It's going to be great. Thank you. CEO?
Just a reminder that next week's strategic workshop special meeting will be on the road. It'll be at the Lakeview Room at Bass Lake. And I'll be attending the Rural County Representatives of California Annual Conference starting tomorrow morning and be back Friday.
Yes, I'll be there as well. Thank you for reminding me.
No report, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, County Council Clerk.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
Okay. And I think we've covered all our closed session items. So with that, this meeting is adjourned.